So there's the thing that I go back to is that every Christian, our purpose is, and this is right in line with what
Patrick.
Morley, right?
Yep.
With what Morley's saying is that discipleship is our key purpose. And when we look at things like the parable of the talents, right? That there was a manager, he had 3 servants. He was going away on a journey. One of them he gave 5 talents to, one of them he gave 2, one of them he gave 1. When he comes back after being gone for a long time, the one who had 5 had 5 more. He says, well done, my good and faithful servant. The one who had 2 had 2 more. Well done, my good and faithful servant. And the one who just had 1 went and buried it in the backyard. And he's like, oh, I know that you were a shrewd man. So I went and buried my talent to make sure that he wouldn't lose it. And he's like, well, why didn't you at least put it in the bank so that I could have gotten interest on it, right? If you knew that I'm that shrewd. So take this guy, throw him out, and then take his 1 talent and give it to the guy that has 10. Well, there are a lot of ways that we can look at that parable. And one of the things that's often overlooked is that the guy who had 5 talents, who was faithful with his 5, the guy who had 2 talents that was faithful with his 2, their reward was the same.
Yeah.
Right? The master still comes to them, well done, good and faithful servant.
Yeah.
And lets them continue on like growing the responsibility that they have. So it's not so much about, having some kind of extravagant gift that other people view and perceive a certain way, that if we're looking at this in terms of like what God actually values, it is, what did you do with what he's given you?
Amen.
And
absolutely.
So, and that's how, ultimately that's how we're going to be judged by God as to whether or not we were successful or unsuccessful in the areas of our ministry. And so that's one of those things that, I come back to that often. Is all of our purpose as believers is to go make disciples, right? Which means to preach the gospel, to do good works, to love one another, to baptize. It was given to all believers to do that, and to teach them everything that Christ had commanded us. That was the commission that was given to all believers. If we're doing those things, we're proving ourselves faithful in those things, then all of these other things that are extra responsibilities, really, that God will give us those responsibilities as he sees that, we've been fruitful in the things that we're all called to do.
Yeah.